Hello, my name is Dan Ender. I am going to discuss SPD 508 class with Dr. Stone, and this is explaining the IDEA and the IEP process. And I'm just going to explain to a parent the brochure that I sent them. All right, good afternoon. My name is Mr. Ender, and I'm just going to talk about that brochure that you received in the mail a couple of days ago. Okay, so this is about the IDEA and the IEP process, which is a really important process for special education. Okay, the first thing I want to discuss is the parent and guardian and student involvement in this process. Okay, so as a parent, you're an equal participant in the IEP process. So you're guaranteed attendance and involvement in all the meetings. You have the right to decide the classroom and the services provided. Okay, you also have the right to help with creating the IEP goals. So it's really important that if you have a goal you want us to try to accomplish, make sure we know. Then parents should also, another really important job to do or thing you want to do is to make sure that this IEP is for your child, is for your student. It's not a one size fits all. This is a solution for your child. It's going to be something that we strategically make for them. And then I also like to make sure the students is involved. So something as simple as when we meet for the first time, we're going to have your student or your child, they're going to introduce us. He's going to introduce me as his general teacher. He'll introduce the special education teacher, and he'll introduce the principal, and he'll introduce you. And they'll be kind of like the leader of the introduction of the meeting. And then, of course, there's parts of the meeting where he probably shouldn't be there or she probably shouldn't be there. But there also, another part that I really, really think is important is that when we talk about accommodations for the student and support, that we ask them what works best for them. We as parents and we as teachers, we might think we know exactly what they need, but that might not be the best support that they need. So we're really going to focus on what they think helps them. So I want them to actually tell us. Okay, so after that, I want to discuss the referral, evaluation, and eligibility of an IEP. Okay, so the first step would be identifying and pre-referral. So what would happen is if I find something that's some behavior that is not to the normal, I would contact you and see if you witness that same behavior. And then if we both witness the behavior and we both have concerns, we'll talk to the principal and he'll set up a meeting with us, with the principal and the special education coordinator. And then we'll start the pre-referral process, but I'll start trying different strategies to see if that will help. And if we find out that that's just the strategies I'm trying is not helping, then we will start with the evaluation process. Okay, so when we start this process, we definitely will notify you, and you have to give us consent to start this process, and that consent has to be in writing. So when you receive that, make sure we get that in writing and document that. And once it's approved, the school or the special education coordinator will explain the evaluation process to you. We have an excellent staff, and they will walk you through this process. In the evaluation process, once we start it, we want to have it finished, or we have to have it finished within 60 days of notification. And this is going to be like a thorough dive into your child's abilities and limitations. We're going to look at parent concerns. So we're going to look at your concerns, teacher concerns, specialist data, the child's schoolwork, their grades, and their assignments. We're going to look at all that and really dive into it. We're also, if we have to consult like the school psychiatrist, the occupational or physical therapist, and any other, or the child's doctor, we'll talk to them too, and we'll put all the information together for the evaluation process. Okay, so the special education determination is if we're going to not just look at the students learning the behavior, but we're going to look at the student or your child as a whole. We're going to recognize a child not just as one part, but we're going to look at the whole student. Everyone's going to work together and pull what we have learned to determine the eligible disability. And some of these disabilities can be, and this is not limited to those, but like hearing or vision impairment, mental disability, autism, and there is quite a bit more. Okay, and if we find other services that help, they might not qualify for the disability, but we'll still try to find other strategies that will help your child. Okay, so reevaluation is something that we would need to do every 3 years. And we do this to see if the child still qualifies for special education service. They might not, which that's our goal is within 3 years, if we can have them be more independent and not need special education services, that's perfect. We did exactly what we need to do. And let's say we look at it, we're like, yep, they still need assistance. We're not going to put them through the reevaluation process. We're just going to keep going with what we're doing. And we don't just look at it every 3 years. So every evaluation we do every 3 years, but we're going to look at the IEP team. We'll look at the IEP, and we'll every year we'll make it sure it's current, and we'll update it as needed. Okay, now that I'm done discussing that, I will discuss the components of an IEP. So what the IEP consists of. Okay, so an IEP will consist of the current level, so it's a level of performance and skills connected to the areas of concern. So we'll definitely take a look at those, and that will be in the IEP. Then the annual goals. So there could be academic, behavior, physical mobility, and other goals. And we'll update that once a year. So we'll take a look at the goals, see how we're doing, and update them once a year. And then progress tracking, that's what we'll measure with regular testing and reports for teachers. So we're going to continuously look and see how they are progressing to their goals. The special education services, that's if they need individual instruction time, special learning aids, if they need them or if they use them, and any teachers or additional staff that will help the student. We'll have that in the IEP. That will be very specific, and we'll show exactly how much time they need and what student or what helpers they will need. Okay, duration of services, that's the start and end of the services, and how often the service will take place in the location. So we'll know exactly how much, like if they need a half-hour day of one-on-one reading assistance, we will make sure that is in the IEP. Then this is probably one of the most important things, in my opinion, is participation in the mainstream classroom. So this will talk about the appropriate time and the support staff your child will need to be in the classroom with his peers. Very important. I mean, that is extremely important to get them into their classroom and working with their peers, with their friends. Then the testing adaptations, that's if they might need something like tests can be really stressful. So they might need extra time. We'll put that in the IEP if they need it, or a quiet space. They might need help with reading. There's other things too, but we'll make sure that is in the IEP, that we will know exactly what testing adaptations your child will need. Then transition goal and services. Okay, at the 14th birthday, the goals are going to start to focus more on preparing your child to leave grade school and maybe get them ready for a job or independent living. So that would be the components of the IEP. And the next one is communication expectations. So this is another one that's very, very important that we're going to discuss about communication between the school, teachers, and us, the parents, or the teachers and the parents. Okay, so the school, teachers, and parents keep communicating on a regular basis. And we do this so we can identify any educational or behavior or learning issues that are happening right away. I don't want to wait a month and then start discussing it. If it happens within that week, it'd be nice to text you, email you, or call you about the issues that we're having. And you too. So if you know something at home, there's something that you're just like, oh, I wish we could work on that, or they're really stressed now about tests, that you would notify me as soon as possible so I can start working on a strategy to help that. And then we'll work on what is the best way to communicate. So you might need to meet, email might be the best way, or text message. We have the school communication tool, which we call it Dojo, where you can just shoot me a little message and then I can shoot you a message back, or just a phone call. If you need to talk once a week on the phone, let's do that. Let's schedule that. Or like sometimes I can't answer my phone, but if like leaving a message, a voice message is better than typing. Just call, leave a message, and I'll answer you within 24 hours. And then let's focus on which, when we're communicating, it seems like when we communicate, it's always that something goes wrong. But I really, really like to focus on positive feedback. We're going to make this a habit that if something happens, like if the student does something accomplishment, like academic accomplishment or behavioral accomplishment, that we're sharing that between each other. Text me if something happens at home that you're just really proud of, and I'll do the same. And then let's make sure to schedule and attend regular face-to-face meetings. So let's once a month, once every 3 weeks, let's get face-to-face and face-to-face and discuss. Face-to-face is probably the best communication there. No, just keep everyone in the present. And then there's some ethical responsibilities that I have, and the parents have too. So the ethical responsibility that I have is that when a teacher and a parent communicate, we really want to keep it done quickly, not quickly, but right away. So if you have a question or I have a question, I'm not going to linger on it. I'm just going to ask you or email you or text you right away. And then my conversations were always going to be respectful. And I'm always going to keep the child's best interest in mind. So when we're discussing things, it's always to make sure it's the best thing for your child. Then as a teacher, one of my responsibilities is to recognize equality, equity, diversity, and inclusion. So I want to make sure that when we're discussing your child, that we are discussing strategies that work for your child, not the classroom, but for your child. Your child is number one on my mind when we're talking, and that's what I will do. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to email, call, text, use the class dojo. So anything, I'm always available. And then when you do contact, or sometimes I can't answer right away, but within the next 24 hours, I will get a hold of you. If you have any questions, you can just ask. All right, thank you.